Hey there, I'm Ian Douglas. I'm the author of the website techinterview.guide, and I'm here to help people with career advancement and interview preparation. My live stream on Twitch covers topics such as company research, how to build resumes and cover letters, applying for the job, getting through interviews, and what to do during negotiations. I've coached thousands and thousands of people over the years to get jobs at the biggest tech companies in the industry, and I'm here to help you too. The following episode is taken from a longer live stream event and may contain interactions with other people in chat. Check out the end of the episode for more information. Let's get to it. So go ahead and hit bang enter. Andy GMB, thanks for dropping by the chat. Random question, reading your bio here. Any recommendations on sites for figuring out developer salaries, not just for the big FAANG, etc. companies, but smaller ones? Glassdoor.com can have some information, but honestly, a lot of companies are going to try right now in the job market to be competitive with FAANG companies. That said, Facebook has a hiring freeze going on right now, so they're putting all their interviewing on hold because their quarterly stock report thing, whatever, wasn't favorable, and so they put a hiring freeze on, I think for the first time like ever. But you can check glassdoor.com, but honestly, I would say a lot of companies are going to be trying to compete with FAANG. They won't get as close as FAANG. So I'd say like probably within 20-30% of what a FAANG salary is, like subtract like maybe 20% at most. But even small startups, some of them will actually beat FAANG, as far as like the salary. Now, your total comp at a FAANG company is going to be much higher because of stock and RSUs and total comp and all the perks and blah, 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 right? That's like the total compensation package is always going to be higher at those big public companies. But from a base salary point of view, I've actually seen some startups and smaller companies beat FAANG on just the base salary, which everything else kind of gets, based on top of. Like any raise that you get is going to be based on your salary that you get, not your total compensation package. And so when you do get an offer, you want to try to negotiate that base salary up as much as you can so that you can, sorry, I'm just going to hit a marker here real quick. You want to try to negotiate that base salary as high as you can, no matter who the company is, so that you can, like any bonuses that you get, any raise that you get, it's going to be based on that salary, not stock options and so on. And so I would check out Glassdoor. Levels.fyi is probably the one that you've seen. That one is going to have a lot of FAANG companies on there, but there are also, a fair amount of like mid to, small size companies on there as well. And then builtin.com, they have kind of state-based things. Like here in Colorado, they got builtincolorado.com. And so if you go to builtin.com and then narrow it down by your region, you might get some regional salaries as well. So that would be another one to check out. Thanks. Going from contracting to full-time. Cool. Within the same small company, really not sure what they're going to offer me. So going from a contract role to full-time, it's probably going to be a lot less like what you would be making as a contractor. But you're not going to have to pay your own benefits anymore. You're not going to have to pay your own taxes anymore. And so they're like what you need to do as a contractor is figure out like what is your current take home. Like once you set aside like your taxes and your benefits and accounting for your own time off and all that kind of stuff, once you figure out like what's your actual take home, work out what that would be given, 30-35% ish sort of tax bracket, and then figure out like what your base salary should be from the company at that point. So when I did freelance work in California, I lost 51% of my income to taxes and so on. So for those dropping by, type ! Enter, bang enter in chat. I'm giving away a whole bunch of these 3D printed dragons. I'm just noticing my viewer count like going up and down. So people that are stopping by, if you want a free giveaway, I got these 3D printed dragons to give away, and I will ship them anywhere. So go ahead and hit bang enter. We're going to do a draw in about 3 or 4 minutes. So last call on that. If anybody wants to bring some friends in and say, hey, this crazy guy is giving away a bunch of dragons and he's going to ship them anywhere in the world. Now, if you don't want the dragon yourself and you win, I'll ship it to whoever you want me to ship it to. So if you want me to ship it as a gift, you can always tell me like the name and address of who you want me to send it to, and I will send it as well. Magnificent username guy. Good to see you. See you hanging out on Loyal's channel all the time. The tax man does indeed take a big chunk. Yeah, so in California, they do not like small business. So I was losing 51% of my income. And so when I went back to being full-time myself, I was factoring in that 50% loss and then figuring out, okay, well, based on what I'm actually taking home, like spendable cash, this is what I would need to make as a full-time employee, and I used that as my base. Now, that said, I mean, you can know your value. And so you were asking, like, where can I find salaries? And I kind of pointed you to, like, regional-based salaries. But if you're looking for a remote job, then region may not matter. It will matter to some companies. Some companies will say, well, if you live in a more rural area, then we don't have to pay you as much as if you live in, like, San Francisco or New York. And I had a tweet storm about this the other day because some recruiter reached out. And they weren't even offering market rate. And they're like, well, tell your friends to apply if you don't want to apply. I'm like, why would I tell my friends to apply if you're not going to pay market rate no matter where they live? Like, who cares where they live? They're still giving you the same value. And they're like, well, but it costs more to live in than, New York or San Francisco. And so I tweeted, I'm like, I hope everybody that applies for this company lies and say they live in New York or San Francisco so they can get the salary they deserve, because it doesn't matter where you live. For the kind of work that we do in the tech industry, you can live anywhere and get your work done. And so companies that base your pay based on location, like, try to negotiate that as much as possible. Talk to the recruiter and say, like, it does not matter where I live. My value is X dollars. And so just understanding what your value is and that first phone call with the recruiter, you should be asking, what's your interview process like and what's the salary band for the job? Otherwise, I'm not even going to waste my time chatting with you. Tell your friends to apply for this thing you wouldn't even do yourself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why would I recommend your job if I'm not going to apply myself? Yeah, exactly. Thanks for checking that out. I hope that you found it helpful. I always appreciate feedback, so please let me know what you think. I appreciate any subscriptions, so please tell your friends and colleagues about it as well. Check out the website techinterview.guide for more information about when I'm live streaming and all of my free content. Drop by a live stream anytime to ask questions or message me privately, whatever makes you most comfortable. See you next time.